All right, all right. Um, Let me just check my volume here just to make sure everything is running smoothly for me because I anticipate on going live this morning. But I just had a couple minutes on hand, so I thought, why the hell not? Why not just go live for a little bit? Because, I'm going out of town this week, so I'm not going to be able to do a live stream for the next probably 7 days or so, right? So I was like, I'll just do one. I was actually planning on doing a stream yesterday, I believe at like 12 p.m. or something like that. I had one scheduled, but I had to cancel it. And somebody asked me, "Well, why'd you cancel the stream?" Right? And I told them, "Well, the reason I canceled it is I was actually watching a live stream for 5 hours, right? A 5 hour live stream by this what's this guy? This celebrity called I Show Speed, right? He calls himself Speed, and he's like, if you don't know who he is, he's basically like a popular, music rapper or football player, something like that. So I was watching his live stream that he did over in what was it, South Korea, right? He went to South Korea this week. I believe he's staying there like probably a week. He goes back home on like the 18th. And there was a wild stream, right? Wild what was going on there, man. So I was so occupied and entertained by watching that I had to cancel my own live stream because it was too entertaining. Just for an example, right? What happened was, the guy was looking for one of those South Korean women, to link up with, right? So, long story short, and I don't want to spoil the whole stream, but long story short, he ended up finding this one girl that he was, taking out, spending money on, and all this. And then when they're at dinner, it turns out that she says that she was married and has a kid. It's like, wait, what? Why the hell did you not tell this guy that before he spent all this money, doing things with you? And you literally tell him on live stream that you are married and have a kid in front of 120,000 people watching the live stream. Say, oh Christ, man, man, that was wild, man. Nobody. That was the plot twist that nobody saw coming, and it's all real, right? It's not fake. It's not all staged, like some of these idiots in the comment section of the video were saying, right? Like some dummies on there. It's like shit like that actually happens in real life sometimes, man. So that was wild, man. Nobody saw that coming, right? The girl that he spent like 2 hours with, it turns out that she was actually married and had a kid at home. So she was playing him, just for the money that he was spending. And there was a point in there when they were at dinner, and then she even asked Speed if she can, call her girlfriends to come over and eat as well. Man, it was really funny, really entertaining live stream, man. So sure, I was so entertained by that, I had to cancel my own live stream, just so I could listen to such, entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Let's hit a couple comments. I am willing to take questions and comments at this point. I will not be bringing anybody on here with me live because I'm not sure how long I'll be able to stay on. Hopefully, at least an hour, I am anticipating. But I can't say for certain because I'm at a certain area where I what's the one I'm looking for? I'm at a certain area where it's not the best of place to bring people on. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it's raining, so my internet connection is not going to be the greatest. So, again, this is not an open panel today. It's just me talking here. But again, you are welcome to ask your question or comment down below, and I will address those. Let's see. Hey, how's it going? John Francis. Hey, what's up, Richard? Yeah, I remember Richard. Isn't that you can correct me, Richard, but aren't you and Ace Theo two separate people? I always get you two mixed up with each other for some reason. I always get Ace Theo and Richard mixed up, but I swear they're two different people. But he can tell me though. But yeah, Richard, I hope you're doing well, man. DJ Spin said, "Hey ETT and Rich." Yeah, hey, what's up, DJ Spin, man? It's been a while since I've seen you, man. Hope you're doing well. Um, Hold on a second. Not sure I know what you mean by that, Richard, but that's all right. Um, so here's another thing, right? Oh, and I hope everybody likes my new profile picture here. This is actually a thumbnail I made for an upcoming video. Like how I make fun of certain people and I call them kiddie pool deep, right? I call myself challenger deep, but then I call other people kiddie pool deep, meaning what? They're not very deep in understanding at all, right? So this cat that I've been going back and forth with for the last 2 weeks now, that goes by the name of Jack Smack, which I really call him Jack Crack, right? He is Jack Crack. He smokes a lot of drug substances, at least to me, it seems like, right? The dude's, all whacked out, basically. You can look him up. His YouTube channel is called Jack Smack 77 is the name of his channel, right? But that dude, there's nothing deep about this guy. He's about as deep as a damn kiddie pool. Shit, I'm over here, challenger deep, right? Max level deep. But his dummy's over here, just a step above shot glass deep. Inside joke. Yeah, that's what Richard said. I kind of look like Ace, but no, we're not the same person. Yeah, man. I always get you two mixed up, right? I don't know why that is, but I always get Richard and Ace Theo mixed up for some reason. But my bad. A whole other thing I want to talk about is yesterday, Jay went on to Babble On's channel, which that guy's name is Jamie, right? And his YouTube channel, if you want to look it up, it's called Babble On, which he does. It's ironic his channel is named Babble On because he does a whole lot of babbling on, right? He does a whole lot of babbling himself. So it's quite ironic that that's what his name. And then a double meaning, right, or a double pun on the word babble. The word Babel means confusion, right? That going back to the Tower of Babel story from Genesis 11, right? The Tower of Babel, the word Babel basically means confusion, right? So it's just ironic the guy calls himself Babel because his channel, for one, he likes to babble on about shit all day. And then second of all, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's spreading confusion among the people, right? No, so I just thought that was funny. But Jay was trying to get me to join, and unfortunately, I couldn't join at the time because I had, I had just woken up at the time, so I was, exhausted. You ever saw that meme? You can go get a whole 8 hours of sleep, but you still wake up feeling like shit. You know what I'm saying? Funny how that works sometimes, right? You ever saw those memes? It's like, 3 hours of sleep is equivalent to 8 hours of sleep because you still feel the same, no matter how much sleep you end up getting. It's weird how that works, but it's true. Anyway, this guy Babylon, right? He's on there running a damn, Christian YouTube channel, right? Where Christians are allowed to join and, talk about whatever it is that comes to their mind, right? And this is just wild to me. So here it is, you have a whole Christian chat, right? And literally out of like the 10 people on there, half of the people are literally gay. Like literally confess that they're gay, including Jamie himself, right? So it's like, wow. So here it is in 2024. Some of the Christian channels on YouTube hosting streams for Christians to come together and talk. They're literally half of the panel is rainbow themselves, right? Is literally gay themselves. It's like, wow, That's crazy, and then they'll turn around and wanna criticize, the Hebrew Israelite movement or, Steven Anderson, right, Pastor Steven Anderson. They'll turn around and criticize, groups or people like that, but yet here it is, they're spreading their gayness for Jesus. It's really amazing to me. But again, this is the fruits of Christianity in 2024, right? This is the fruits of Christianity in today's day and age. And that's really sad if you think about it. It's really sad. This is the level of deception that people have fell for at this point in time, man. Now, again, it's really weird as well. It's like, you would think people have the smarts to be able to figure out, okay, well, you know what? Maybe the Bible doesn't, teach that you're allowed to be a cross dresser, right? Like it literally says in, what is that, Deuteronomy 22:5, right? A man should not put on a woman's garments, and a woman's not supposed to put on a man's, clothing, right? All that do so are the abomination to the Lord, is what the Bible says. But yeah, here it is. You literally have, the churches allowing that in there. And then you even have some of these apologists, like this guy, the friend of Vocab Malone, calls himself, what's this guy? I think it's David Wood or something like that, right? David Wood or something like that. And this guy's on there. Literally, a picture on the internet exists of this guy wearing his woman's clothing. you know, so that's amazing to me. But again, these are the respected, authority figures among Christianity, to at least thousands upon thousands of Christians, right? People that live like that are respected as authority figures, right? They go to them to learn, right? Like David Wood and Vocab Malone. It's like, well, Vocab, why the hell? Again, leave the Hebrew Israelites out of it just for a minute. Why the hell would you hang out with a guy like David Wood that literally got caught wearing his woman's clothing on live stream or on video? Like, why the hell would you hang around somebody like that? Again, has nothing to do with Hebrew Israelites here, but I'm just saying, like, why would you hang around with somebody like that who openly is transgressing what the Bible says in Deuteronomy 22:5? Yeah, it makes no logical sense. No logical sense, why you'd hang out with somebody like that. Hey, how's it going, William Freeman? Bear with me a second. Well, Richard, I agree that, of course, not all churches are with that, right? Some churches allow, rainbow marriages, but of course, there's some churches such as Stephen Anderson who are opposed to that and plainly teach against it, right? So, of course, there's churches out there that teach opposing to these things, but there's many out there that teach acceptance of these things. Matter of fact, if you were to weigh the two in the balance, the scales are not even close, right? The scale would uh, bend towards the side of the churches that openly allow this abomination and all this wickedness into their congregation. Now, and going back to Jamie, right? Like this guy literally makes fake accounts of like transformer people. Read between the lines. I got to use code language on this platform called YouTube. But he literally brags about making, fake YouTube channels of transformer people so he can try to argue with people in the comment section. But he's like some type of like Christian that people look up to. Right? It's amazing to me. It's just amazing to me that this is, the level that Christianity is at this point in time, man, right? The truth is Christianity is leading people away from God, right? The Christian churches out here, and again, it's not deliberate. Like the people that go there, it's not like they're deliberately trying to trick you, not at all. It's just that they were taught, the doctrine growing up, most of them, so they stick with it. Same thing with Jehovah Witnesses. A lot of those people, they grew up being Jehovah Witnesses, so they continue the tradition. Same thing with the Amish people. I know over at my part of the country, right over, well, I'm not going to say where I'm at, But over where I'm at, you got a whole lot of Amish communities over in this area. Matter of fact, there's one like I want to say like an hour away from me where I'm at right this minute. The communities the Amish people got set up, man. But the truth is, a lot of those people that live, Amish lifestyles, they grew up, living that lifestyle. So to keep the tradition going, they stay in it, and then they teach their children after them to continue the tradition and so on and so forth. That's what's really going on out here, man. A lot of people that have religious views, they were just raised with those views. Of course, sometimes people can change over the course of their life. Like I know people who might have been atheist at some point, then have became Christian. I also know people that were in Christianity for years and then left the faith to join like Islam or Hinduism or, became atheist, right? So again, it can change, but for a large part of the population that believes in certain of these religious beliefs, they were raised with them. Let's just some comments. Hey, how's it going, this one guy? Hope you're doing well, man. Um, let's see. Richard said the name of his church is Westbrook. Yeah, Steven Anderson is the pastor over that church, right? Steven Anderson is the pastor over that congregation. Yeah, yeah, I'd agree. I understand what you're saying, Richard. Right, I get what you're saying, man. You know, but with the well, what's it called? The Amish people, right? With the Amish people, you know, well, they say that like the technology, like say for instance, like the phone I'm using, or cable television, or having like electricity or a computer to go on, that's like, that's wicked to have that stuff, right? A lot of them believe that it's like against the Bible to have those type of conveniences, right? They think that we're going off for indulging in the use of these things. Which of course I'd have to disagree with that stance. The Bible talks about, you can use the world, right, but don't over abuse it, right? So the having like access to the internet, having a phone, or Richard said, right, or YouTube, right, that's a good example, right, or YouTube, because of course to use YouTube you have to have the internet to get access to that, right? So according to them, having all of that is wicked, and is going off. It's like, well, that just logically doesn't make sense, because there's so much good that has come out of this. Of course, to be fair, there's some evil that's come out of it as well. Some bad things came out of the internet as well, of course, but there's certainly good things about it as well. Like we can't pretend that like everything that has to do with the internet is bad and corrupt. It's not 100% true. There's certainly good things that come out of the internet. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, there's a couple people in the chat watching right now who have YouTube channels where they do live streams, such as Richard and this one guy there and myself. So we all find value out of it because we get to host these live streams to interact with, other people, right? And, you get to watch history videos, you get to learn science, you get to learn, all these different fields of knowledge. Hell, you could even go on YouTube and learn how to change your damn car tire, right? Or hook up your new DVD player to the TV, or put a blender together that they forgot to give you the instructions on, right? So again, it's would be stupid to just pretend like, well, all of technology is just bad in general. It's like, well, hey, if you want to hold that view, you're welcome to believe that, but that's not going according to the Bible, right? That's not going according to the scriptures. There's nowhere in the Bible that indicates that using technology is wicked or against God. That's just not true. Um, let's see. Rudy said I was on Babel On's live stream for a few hours with Jay, actually. Well, yeah, I seen you on there, man. I seen you. In fact, I put a comment on there. I don't know if you saw it, but I joked around with you because you actually put your camera on like around the 7 hour mark, and you were actually at the Dollar Tree, right? I saw you walking around in the aisles at the dollar store. I was like, oh shit, Rudy's at the damn Dollar Tree right now. But shit, I don't blame you. That's as the Wolf Pit would say it, right? My own personal adult playground, right? Shout out to the Wolf Pit if anybody knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, right? Props for you. But yeah, man, it's Babylon's channel. Man, that's just a embarrassment for Christianity, right? Like those guys over there, that's really just a pure embarrassment, right? That's what that panel ran by Jamie is, right? Just a pure embarrassment for modern day Christianity. And it shows the Christianity that these people were raised with, it failed them. Because if they were actually raised on the truth, well, they would have never left it. They would have learned, okay, well, this and that is bad, right? This lifestyle over here is bad. Teaching people this or that is corrupt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, I hear you, Rudy. I hear you. Oh man. Hey, Richard, I didn't know you knew Rudy. Maybe you two got some history together. I don't know, man. Richard said, any tool can be used for good or evil. Of course, you are right. They are staying to the times of their origins to avoid corruption. Yeah, yeah, that's understandable. Like, say, for instance, right? I don't think that they're doing anything wrong with not using technology. But when you say that me or you are in the wrong for using it, that's when they're going off, right? But again, if somebody chooses that they don't want to use technology, they have a right to choose that, right? They're welcome to decide to live that lifestyle, whether they choose it for whatever reason or a tradition they have, they're welcome to, stick with that lifestyle. And here's a whole nother thing we can get into that's um it's similar to it because I imagine a lot of people that are Amish would also consider themselves to be vegan or vegetarian, right? But I've seen, a few people online, like this one channel that's called Modern Day Debate. They did a couple debates where people were trying to say that that the Bible teaches that you have to be a vegan or vegetarian, right? That meat is forbidden in the Bible. And I was laughing my ass off when I heard such bullshit like that. I was saying, wait a second, how the hell are you going to tell me that eating meat is forbidden in the Bible if the Bible literally gives laws on meat you are allowed to eat and meat you're not allowed to eat? So how the hell could somebody make a statement and say that all meat in general, right, all animal meat in general is off the menu according to God, if God literally gave down rules regarding meat you are and are not allowed to eat? Like that right there just ends the whole debate. Like, I mean, seriously, we don't have to have like a damn 3 hour back and forth debate about if the Bible teaches that veganism is required. It's like the debate is ended with just Leviticus 11 by itself, right? Leviticus 11 completely ends that whole argument just off the start. And then, second of all, I have another question. If God is not okay with the consumption of any animal meat whatsoever, well, then why did God tell the Israelites in Exodus 12, right during the Passover, he told them to kill a lamb and eat it? A lamb's an animal, right? Yeah. So why did God tell them to kill an animal and eat its meat then? If God, according to them, said that all animals are off the menu. That logically doesn't make sense according to what these dummies are saying. It's like, again, you have to be consistent with your claims, right? You have to make what you're saying make sense, right? But a lot of these people are just talking out of their behinds, right? A lot of them are talking out of their back end, is what these guys are doing, man. Hey, the Apocrypha says many have deceived themselves by their own vain faults and their opinions. Bear with me a second. Just looking over the chat real quick, just make sure I didn't miss anything. Damn, we're almost already at a half an hour already. Didn't feel like it's been that long already. But seriously, I just think it's so ridiculous and preposterous for anybody to make a claim and say, well, veganism or vegetarianism lifestyle is required of a true believer, right? That's so asinine and stupid. It just either these people have never read the Bible themselves or just repeating nonsense they heard on the internet. Like somebody said, well, the Bible says in the law, thou shalt not kill. It's like, well, yeah, the Bible says thou shalt not kill, but in the context, it's talking, well, really, in the initial, Hebrew, it meant thou shalt not murder. So there's a difference between killing and murdering, because there's a time when killing is allowed. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, if you go out to war, like, how in the ancient times, men would go out to war with spears, swords, and armor on, right? So if you're out in war and you kill somebody of the opposite army that's trying to invade your land or whatever, then that's not considered murder because that killing was justified, right? So again, it just depends on the context in which it's used, right? To murder or kill, it means different depending on the context, right? Even today, right? Like what's going on in Ukraine right now, right? You have soldiers that kill the other soldiers. That's not murder because there's a war going on, right? So it's justified what's happening in the conflict over there, just like how it was in the ancient days, right? So there's clearly context, right? So you can't use when it says thou shalt not kill to say, well, see, you can't kill animals to eat them because that's against God's law. It's like, no, that just shows that you're just unskillful in the word, right? You're stuck on the milk of the scriptures, right? You're not really ready for the meat. That's basically what it is at that point. And you know what else I find really funny? Let me just read this real quick. Richard said, good point, ETT. There are no laws describing how to do something that is forbidden. Uh, Rudy said, I've never heard veganism was required till your video on it. Basically, preterism or Mormonism. But right, again, I've seen many people on the internet say that veganism or vegetarianism is required of a believer. Like seriously, it has to be in the hundreds at this point of people I've watched through the years that make this statement. And again, it truly has no basis in reality. Like they completely would fall on their sword, right? They would fall on their Bible if they were to be challenged by me or any other person that's skilled in the word. And if I asked him, well, where does it say? Like, give me two verses that talk about that you can't eat meat at all, and they can't do it. And then you know what else I find funny? This is like the bombshell. This is the knockout right here. This is the spiritual knockout. This is the KO. Now, why is it then, if the Bible says that you can't eat meat at all, why did Jesus give people meat to eat? Because there's an example. Remember the I believe that might be Matthew 7, but it's in multiple gospels. It mentions this how when all the people were gathered with Christ, there was a boy there that had like a loaf of bread and two small fishes. So then Christ took them up in baskets and he multiplied them, right? He held them up to the sky and then he multiplied the fish and the bread. And then he fed the 5,000 plus people that were there to listen to him preach. So wait a second. Fish are meat, right? Of course. So did why the hell did Christ give people meat to eat if eating meat is not allowed in the Bible. And then if I'm not mistaken as well, when you read like the end of the gospel, when Christ appeared to his apostles after his death and resurrection, um, there was even an account where they gave him like some type of fried honey, and I think it said broiled fish. So Christ even ate fish, according to that account in the gospel. So wait a second. If the Bible forbids eating of meat, then why did Christ give people meat to eat? And then in one account, he ate meat himself. So that's a knockout right there. Somebody call the ambulance because ETT just handed out a spiritual knockout, right? That's a KO right there. I mean, seriously, I don't think anybody could argue against that point I just said there. Nobody can rationally make sense against that. Clearly, the Bible teaches that meat, certain types of meat, are lawful. Now, of course, with that being said, right, the Bible does allow us to eat certain animals, but it also gives us guidelines, right? Like certain animals are not supposed to enter into your body, right? They're not supposed to enter into your into your system. And the Bible gives us clear rules and guidelines as to what we're not allowed to eat. Like say for instance, pork, um, shrimp, crab, lobster, catfish, eels, horses, and the list could go on and on and on, but that's just a couple examples. You can read it in Leviticus 11 for yourself. But again, the Bible makes it very clear, right? God makes it very clear what he allows us to eat and what he does not allow us to eat. And anybody that, doesn't want to accept that, well, then they're just taken away from the book. The Bible says, what is that? Revelation 22, verse 18, 19, right? Anybody who takes away from the words of the Bible, God's going to take his name out of the book of life. And anybody who adds to the book, God's going to add to them the plagues written in the book. And Jack Smack's a great example of it, to bring it back to that moron, right? Or these people saying that veganism is morally required according to the Bible. Hey, you guys are taking away from the book and you're adding to the book. Say, hey man, you better heed to the warning and stop teaching that, because if you don't, and you get caught still teaching that when Christ returns, and hey, that's not gonna be go over good for you, man. If you're still out there teaching that nonsense. And same thing with here's a whole nother thing I want to talk about. I've also been going back and forth with this a new group of free gracers, and they're basically like an offshoot of like Praise I Am's channel. They know him, right? They go on his streams. But this ran by this guy, I forget this cat's name, but his YouTube channel was called The Layman's Seminary, right? You can look it up. It's called The Layman's Seminary, which I make fun of it. I call it the layman's cemetery, right? Just like how Apostle of the Horror from GMS, yeah, he joked around with Vocab Malone and was saying, "Hey, look, man, when you went to those theological seminary schools, right? Theological cemetery schools, you should sue them to get your money back because they lied to you, right?" So I'll take his joke and flip it on this layman's seminary, right? Hey, look, that's not a seminary. That is a cemetery right there. That's a theological cemetery that the layman is running over there, right? So the whole beef with these cats over at the layman's cemetery is, for one, I went on there, I want to say maybe a week ago at this point, and we had like a 2-hour back and forth debate about the concept of free grace versus law and works, right? And I got to give him credit. It was actually a very friendly back and forth conversation. But then the next day, the main guy who owns the channel, because he wasn't there when I went on, he had like his co-host run it. So then the next day, they do like a video reaction to it where the main guy, right, like the top dog, you know, does a reaction to it, and I was putting up comments in the comment board saying, hey, well, look, this and this and that and that. And then they were like, well, don't put his comments on screen. We don't want people to see his comments. And I asked, well, can I join and talk? And then they're like, we don't want you on here. So you guys are sitting there watching the video, but you won't allow me to come on to have a conversation? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But then he asked me, listen here. Then he asked me um to do a response, right? He asked me to watch their reaction to our debate we had the previous day, and I did. I watched the debate over, and then I also watched his reaction to the debate and his questions that he asked, right? So then I took time out of my day to actually make a video, like you guys see me, right? My background, right? My tablecloth background, inside joke, and I set up to do a response. It took an hour out of my day to answer all the questions they asked in that response video they did. And then they he's like, "Well, I don't want to see the response video." Then I nagged him. I was like, "Well, wait, why the hell do you ask me to make it then if you don't want to watch it?" And then he was like, okay, well, I'll check it out and do a response to it another time, right?" Which, you know, I really only do the responses so people that watch it, they can see the error in what the other person is saying, right? Like, say for instance, I like to take Larkin Rose's aspect when he talks about debates, right? Like he's into like political debates. He's an anarchist, for those that don't know, right? He's an anarchist, right? They believe in anarchy. They don't believe in any form of government, right? And he does debates against people who believe in certain forms of government and all of that. Somebody asked him, well, why do you do debates? And then he said, well, when I do debates, I'm not trying to change the mind of my opponent, but actually I'm trying to put information out there that the people listening to the back and forth conversation, they can hear it and then they can learn from both sides of what we're saying. And then they can conclude who was right or wrong from their own standpoint, right? So when we do these debates, or well, I can't speak for Jay, but me speaking for myself, ETT, right? When I do debates, I'm not trying to change my opponent's mind on the subject, but rather I'm trying to show the audience listening to us, trying to show them verses that the other person doesn't have an answer to show that they're, not, too deep with what they're saying, right? Like that's the way I do debates. Let's see. Oh, and Joshua, this isn't Jay on here. This is what like one of his co-hosts, one of his buddies, ETT, on his channel. But how you doing, Joshua Matthews? Hey, rebuke and reprove. That's Jill. Hey, how you doing, Jill? Hope you're doing well, Jill. Just so you know, oh, what was that one atheist that you talked to? Oh shit, it's not coming to my mind now. That you know that dude with the glasses, right? That white dude with the glasses. He you went on to hit, oh, it's Pine Creek. That's what it was. Pine Creek. Right? Pine Creek. I remember the channel now. Right? You went on with Pine Creek. Side joke. You went on there of that cat. And shit, we'll call that dude Pine Creep. That's his YouTube poop name right there. Inside joke. Right? That's what we'll call that cat, right? He's not Pine Creek. He's Pine Creek. He's Pine Creep. Sin, that's a tongue twister right there. That is a tongue twister right there, at least in my opinion. Uh yeah, that guy, man. But hey, I gotta admit, man, he schooled you, right? Pine Creek, right? Pine Creep. He schooled you in that debate about biblical slavery, brother. He got you good on that one, man. Again, I try to give Jill the benefit of a doubt because he is rather respectable, but he got you on that one, man. I watched the debate, and I was thinking about doing a response to it, but I was like, I don't got time for that. But he got you. He got you in that, man. He got you. And by the way, this is not an open panel stream, so I don't want to hear you say, "Well, why don't you let me on? Why are you not letting me on?" It's like, well, this is not an open panel stream, and I literally said that in the first 1 minute of the stream, just to clarify that. Um, yeah, yeah, call that cat Pine Creek. Well, Joe, you can join me and we can have a conversation about it another time, right? Like say for instance, you can come back. We could even set up a conversation like in June, right? You have my email, man. Hit me up, right? Hit my email up, and we can set up a conversation on it. Matter of fact, hold on a second. Let me even put it down there for you in the live comment box. All right, there you go. I put my email in there. You can just contact me there and we can set up a live stream together where we can have a conversation about it. And we can take it from there, man. Yeah, so again, nobody's running from having a conversation. I'm not doing it right now because, well, I already said earlier this is not an open panel stream. But again, if you want to contact me, we can set up a conversation. Don't got a problem at all. Let me see. Damn, I didn't see if Richard ever talked to Pine Creek before. I haven't seen that. What? I don't get this one right here. This sounds pretty weird. Jill said there are no verses that you can show a knowledgeable Christian that he doesn't have an answer to. This is our book, you're just borrowing it. Well, I don't get what you mean by that. First of all, isn't the Bible for everybody though, according to your opinion? So how could it be your book if according to you the Bible's for everybody? So that's a logical contradiction, or as I call it, that's a logical fallacy within your own statement right there, brother. That logically makes no sense. How can you believe that salvation is for everybody, but then you said the Bible is your book? Doesn't make sense. And let me ask you a question, Joe. You know that Jesus was a Hebrew, right? He was an Israelite, and the first Christians were Israelites, right? So isn't it the Israelites' book? Because Christ was an Israelite, right? He was the King of the Jews. So isn't it the Israelites' book? And the Israelites were called Christians, right? So I don't get your statement there. That doesn't make sense. Shit, he's cut on two fronts with that one. For one, how the hell could it be your book only if salvation's for everybody that he preaches? And then second of all, the Bible is for the Israelites. So that's strike two. As I said, Joe, all we can have a conversation about that. I'm not going to elaborate on here for multiple reasons at the moment. And second of all, to be fair, I don't have my Bible with me here, so I can't pull up any verses to go into, how he cut you on the topic, right? So to be fair, I would like to wait until I'm able to bring that up. You know what I'm saying? But again, I don't know how I'm like the bad guy there if I told you I'm literally willing to have a conversation with you to just contact me and we can set it up. Like I don't get like how that's so terrible to say. You know what I'm saying? Hey, how's it going, Galapagos? Hope you're doing well, man. Long time no see. Oh shit, I remember he put up a comment the other day on my on the comment board. Shit, I can't pull it up because it would remove me from StreamYard because YouTube acts weird on my phone. But but yeah, I saw Galapagos put up a comment the other day. So that brother's good to know he's still around, right? But unfortunately, we don't know where Mina Shareg is though, right? We're all still looking out for him. Hell, maybe he joined Steven, but hopefully not. All right, you asked for one example, Jill. I'll give you an example. Okay, you know how in the law, where it speaks about if when the Israelites go out to war against another nation, it says if you see among the captives a beautiful woman, you can take her to be your wife. Now, that woman was not given a choice if she wanted to go with that man or not. She was a spoil of war, so the men could take that woman if they wanted to. That's in God's law. That is in the Bible. And again, if you give me the time, I can literally pull up the verses that say that. And even Pine Creep brought this up to you. He even mentioned this, and then you didn't really want to get into that conversation. But he's shown a part of the Bible where it says that you could take a person from a spoil of war and against their will. So I mean, you were cut on that just with that one example alone, man. So there you go. I gave you one example of how you were wrong. And if you want further, you can contact me and we can set up a conversation. But that's what you'll get for right now from me. And I also want to point out the video was only like what, not 2 minutes long. I think it was like 12 minutes long, maybe 15 minutes long. So not a whole lot of not a whole lot of backstory to it, but a decent watch, at least in my opinion. Hey, Richard, can I ask you a question? You said an Israelite means anybody that struggles with God. So can Esau be an Edomite? Can Esau be an Israelite is what I meant to say. Excuse me. Can Esau be an Israelite? Can a descendant of Esau be an Israelite? And if you don't want to answer that, well, I'll give you another one. Can a Moabite become an Israelite if they believe on Christ? Let me see. But hey, Joe, man, I'll tell. Look, I'll say it one more time, and then I'm moving on to the next topic. If you want to have a conversation about it, like literal one-on-one conversation, you can click the what's the word I'm looking for? I just put my email in the chat, right? You can contact me there, and me and you can set up a discussion. I don't mind. We can do it on your channel, man. I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind going on other people's channels and having the conversation. That's not a problem at all. But you can contact me and we can set up the conversation. I don't get like why that's like such a hard pill to swallow. I just don't get that. Let's see. Dang. But yo, man, it's crazy what's going on out here, man. It's just again, everything's getting out of hand at this point, man. I mean, shit. And these people in the world, they can see it, right? Everybody out here, it's like you can feel it in the air at this point, basically, man, that shit's getting bad out here, and people just can't realize that for some reason, right? People will turn a blind eye to the true events that's actually like, unfolding in the world, before us right now, right? Like say for instance, right? Like say for instance, like this is so laughable and preposterous. Like say for instance, these dummies, the free gracers, which I believe Jill's a free gracer, right? He can correct me down below, but I believe he's a free gracer, so he might be in this category as well. But these guys like Jack Smack, right? Jack Crack. They're on there talking about, well, we are the true Christians. You Christians, you people like ETT or all these other guys like what's that guy? Well, I forget that cat's name. So we'll just say all these other guys teaching, as they call works-based salvation. Well, we're leading people away from God, right? We're leading people to sin by teaching them to keep God's law. Like how retarded is that? Think about that. How the hell are we leading people to sin by teaching them to live in obedience to God? Like, can someone logically make sense of that? Again, you can't make sense of that. It's like only a moron would say something like that. You're basically leading people to sin by teaching them to stop sinning. It's such a logical contradiction in one's own mind. It's really just it's amazing to me. How these people are able to form these sentences and actually gain followers. But again, why do these guys have so many followers, right? Like say for instance, you go on Jack Crack's channel, dude literally gets like what, 2,000 views on each video he uploads every day. Let me grab a drink real quick. Right, the dude got like 11,000 subscribers, on his channel, right? And why is that? Because the truth is, people like what he's saying, right? What he's saying is what people want to hear. Right? That is what people want. That's what the world likes, right? People want to hear that they can continue in what they're doing. Just give the church a couple donations, and then you can live however you want, right? Or just say a couple magic words, and then you're going to heaven when you die. Again, that's what people want to hear, because again, people don't like change, right? People want to live how they're comfortable with living. But the truth is, man, a real Christian, right? True Christianity, right? True, um, the true following of the Christ, it involves change, right? It involves change, right? It's not just something you say you believe in one time and then, you can sit on your ass and eat Cheetos all day for the rest of your life and drink beers and shit. It's like, that's not what Christ died for you to do. I mean, like seriously, this is so retarded that I even have to clarify this. It's like it should be just basic Bible 101 knowledge right here. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's such basic knowledge that Christ died for the believers to take action. Yes, Christ died for your sins, but that doesn't mean that you just go around and deliberately sin because Christ died for your sin. That's not what he died for. No, he didn't die for you to just go and continue to live in sin and just say you believe and then, well, that's it. I mean, like anybody that's read the Bible should easily be capable of seeing that that's not what it teaches. Again, only somebody that's willfully ignorant and very gullible would believe something so stupid like that. But again, you would think that this is like a weird belief that not a lot of people would believe in, because you want to imagine that people would have the smarts to acknowledge, okay, well, yeah, that's obviously not what the Bible teaches. Shit, even atheists can agree with me on this. Because again, a lot of atheists, why they don't believe in the book, they actually read it so they can have decent knowledge about what Christianity teaches, right? About what Christians believe when they have conversations. Like, I'll give you an example, right? Like Pine Creek, right? Pine Creek himself, he's read the Bible. He has a lot of good knowledge about the Bible. Well, a decent amount for somebody like him. He knows more than a regular Christian would know about the Bible. I got to give the man credit. But why does he study the Bible? Not because he believes in it, but so he can have conversations with believers and know their standpoints and know how to argue against them. Right? That's why they learn the Bible. Like, say, for instance, like I could buy a Quran and I could read the Quran so I understand Muslim viewpoints. That doesn't mean I believe in the Quran just because I own one and read it. Or somebody like, say, for instance, like Jay just recently got a good deal on like, I think they were like Freemasons books or like a Satan Bible or something like that. You can ask him when he's on, but he got like a good deal on him. Now, why does he have it? Does he believe in like the Freemason Bible as being true? No, it's so he can get information from it about what they believe. Very simple. Or say, I'll give another example. There's something out there called the Egyptian Book of the Dead, right? It's like another religious text, right? And you could own that and read it. Doesn't mean you believe in it, but you can study what though that culture believe, right? What it's taught in that book. Doesn't mean you believe it. So same thing with atheists. They might own the Bible and read it. Doesn't mean they believe in it though. But you can learn from it, right? Let's see. Richard, I'd have to disagree with you on that, man. Richard said only Christ knows God. You can't even know Christ, never mind knowing God. You would have to be Christ. Well, the Bible talks about, like, say for instance, one of my personal favorites I keep bringing up, right? First John chapter 2, verse 3 to 4. If you say you know him, but you keep not his commandments, then the truth isn't in you. So we see it is possible to know God because it's saying if people say they know him but don't do certain things, then they're lying. But that would indicate that some people who do say that they know him they actually do know him. Right, that would indicate that if somebody could say they know him and be lying, that would indicate that some could say they know him and are not lying, right? Yeah, Richard's right on this comment here. Said Christians are often anti-biblical. Yeah, that's absolutely true. A lot of Christians or churches are anti-Christ, right? The word antichrist, well, first of all, the word anti means to be against, right? And the word Christ basically means Messiah, right? So antichrist means against the Messiah, right? That's what a lot of Christians, ironically enough, are. They are against the teachings of Christ. Like, say, for instance, I gave the example earlier, right, with David Wood, right? Dude's literally on there, supposedly like a Bible scholar and teacher. The guy's literally sitting on there with his wife's clothing on. Like, what? It's like, dude, you do know that the Bible literally says that you can't do that, right? It says that's a abomination, Deuteronomy 22:5. Why the hell are you sitting there doing it then? Oh, that was Old Testament, done away with. Well, why the hell did Jesus say that he didn't come to do away with the Old Testament law? So why the hell are you breaking it then? Matter of fact, Christ taught if you even teach people to break even the very least of the Old Testament laws, then you're going to be least in the kingdom. But those that teach people to keep the law, they're going to be great in God's kingdom. So wouldn't you want to be great in God's kingdom? And how do you get that? Well, according to what Christ said, you become great in the kingdom of heaven by teaching obedience to God's law. Matthew, what is that, the fifth chapter? Let's see. Yeah, like I'll give you a whole nother thing, man. Um, Believe it or not, there's churches out here that actually are with abortion. There's a whole, what do they call it? I think it's Roe versus Wade or something like that, right? Roe versus Wade, or whatever that whole dilemma is, right? The one side is pro-abortion, the other side is against abortion, right? And that's been going on for the last couple of years in this country. I know, man. Um, but there's even churches out here I've seen. Like somebody put up an image the other day on YouTube of a church, like how they have that sign outside where they put up like certain words or like sentences like every week or whatever. Like they change them out, like how the Burger King has it. You know what I'm talking about, the sign. Um, and there was a church somebody took a picture of that they were saying, "Well, yeah, we're in support of, women having abortion rights." I was thinking to myself, I was like, wait, what the hell? What the hell did the church out here literally saying that they're with abortion? It's like, wow, that's just crazy to me that here we are in the day and age where even the religious people will openly push the agenda of the elites without even realizing it. It's like, isn't that like so weird? No, because I remember when I was growing up, man, right? I was born in the early 2000s, right? But I remember when I was growing up, there was none of this, like gay shit, man. Like people would keep that in the closet. I mean, once or twice here or there, you'll see a joke about it on a show or something like that. But now today, it's like plain out in the open. Even Disney is now putting gay characters into their Disney movies. Like, you ever saw the movie? I think it's called Lightyear, right? Where they give like the backstory to Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story, right? They go into his backstory, and there's literally two um, women that were married, and they literally show that in the cartoon. It's like, you know, clearly Disney over the course of years now, they're putting this stuff into these cartoons and shows now to try to push this on to children, right? And to put this into their mind that this stuff is acceptable and normal. I remember when I was growing up, you had none of this go. Like, I remember 10 years ago, there was no such thing as the Transformer kids walking around. But now today, you see them out. There's so many of them that you run into them at places, right? Yeah. Again, it seems weird, but this is accepted now. I got people that are 10 years old already getting permission from their parents to undergo, gender change surgery. That's crazy to me, man. And, a matter of fact, in some areas, they actually consider it to be, if you like, say, for instance, if your child says that they want to be the opposite gender and you don't allow it, like you tell them that they're being stupid for believing that, would the state could consider that to be abuse right there. That's mental abuse according to the state. If your son comes home from school and says that he wants to be a princess, and put the soap in his mouth to discipline him, hey, that's considered abuse right there from the US government. If you do think that your son, when he's, 8 years old, 10 years old, comes home and says he wants to be a princess and wear women's bathing suits, well, according to the US government, if you say no, then that's abuse right there. That is a mental abuse according to the government. It's like, wow, that is insane right there. That is just crazy. So again, you know, we're at a point right now, man, where this can't get any worse. I mean, it is so depraved and wicked out here. It's amazing. But like, say for instance, right? Like, I don't know how anybody could reject the fact that America's Mystery Babylon. I mean, this is clearly the place where all of this wickedness is like the headquarters, right? You literally have a place over here that's called Sin City. I believe, what is that? I think it's Los Angeles, right? It's nicknamed Sin City. My uncle's over there, right? My uncle recently moved down to Los Angeles. But that place is nicknamed Sin City, man. Look it up. So again, oh, and you even have places over here like literally named Egypt, right? There's literally places, cities here in America named Egypt, right? Like they have something called Little Egypt over here. And then in New York, if you go to Central Park, they have like a 3,000-year-old real Egyptian obelisk that was imported from Egypt. I believe it was like the 1870s that they imported it from Egypt. It was like a gift from the Egyptian government to America, and they set it up in Central Park. Again, look it up on YouTube. Look up Central Park Egyptian obelisk on YouTube. In fact, there's a good documentary that was made from this TV show called, oh, what is this? A TV show called? Oh, it's America Unearthed, right? America Unearthed is the name of the TV show, and they had do like a whole hour special episode about this Egyptian obelisk over in New York. Really good. You should check that one out to learn about it. You can find it on YouTube. Just do a search. But yeah, man, this place is spiritually Egypt, right? What is that? Revelation 11, verse 8. Their dead bodies will lie in the street of that great city. That is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, right? And that's America. America is modern day Egypt and Sodom. It's not talking about the Vatican. It's not talking about Jerusalem. It's not talking about um, Saudi Arabia. It's not talking about Dubai. Now, is it true that all those places I mentioned are wicked and are in sin? Of course, that's true. But that doesn't mean that they're Babylon, though. Babylon is just one city, it's one place. And that's America. That's all 50 states together are classified as being Babylon, right? All the 50 states that make up America together as one, they're considered to be that great city, Babylon, in Revelation. So again, anybody that doesn't teach that, they're clearly wrong. Again, like the understanding of this is very important to your salvation because we're in the time now when this is approaching, right? Like the prophecies in the Bible in the last pages, are starting to unfold themselves right now, man. So, not knowing this information, it's not something you want to be caught doing, man. You want to be caught knowing this stuff. You don't want to be caught with your pants down, as the saying goes. You don't want to be caught not knowing. Hey, how's it going, Luke? Hope you're doing well, man. Yeah, what time is it over in Australia? I know over here in the United States, it's literally 9 a.m. right now over here. Um, Someone asked, do I prefer the King James version of the Bible? Yeah, I only read the King James version, but there are books removed out of the King James though. And that's what people don't get. They when they printed the Bibles in like the 1800s, there were books removed. It's called the Apocrypha. So the real Bible has like 80 books in it, right? The real Bible has 80 books in it. So you got to go on YouTube, or let me phrase myself. You got to go on Amazon and order yourself a 1611 King James Apocrypha. And then once you have that, then you got the true Bible right there, right? You got to order yourself the Apocrypha, and then you got the Bible. If you have all that together. Like I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of the importance of the Apocrypha. Like earlier, Jay asked me a question that I'd be more familiar with it than he would be, dealing with reincarnation, right? Because apparently it was like brought up in Jamie's stream or something like that. So maybe somebody asked him, but they brought up Hebrews 9:27. It says, "For after death, or excuse me, it says it's appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment." Right. But the key word, as I said, appointed to them once to die. So then he was asking, well, how do we interpret it with reincarnation, right? And then I went on to explain. I gave him a verse from the Apocrypha, the book of Second Ezra, chapter 14, verse 35. It says, "For after death shall the judgment come, where we shall live again." Right. So after death, the judgment comes, then you live again. Um, But anyway, guys, I'm gonna have to cut the stream short there. Thank everybody for stopping by, and I'll catch everyone around.